Washington. Some of you may have heard of me on 1010 Wins for the notorious delays on my bridge, or perhaps you saw my face on the crisp dollar bill you used to purchase your cappuccino, latte, soy, caramel, mocha, double espresso drink this morning. I'm the first president of the United States of America. Before this, I was general in the Continental Army. I always disagreed with Britain's unfair laws and taxes and how unjustly they treated us. Unlike someone I know, King George III. I always thought that America should be a free country. I shaped America into greatness, and without me, this country might not even be here. In 1752, I joined the Virginia Army, an army that protects Virginia from outside threats. 3 years later, I left the Army and decided to join the British in the French and Indian War. After the war was over, I left the British Army because the British officers didn't treat me respectfully. After I left the British, I was chosen to lead the Continental Army. Shortly after I was chosen, I decided to lead my men on a sneak attack on the Hessians camped in Trenton, New Jersey. We crossed the freezing Delaware River in boats at midnight. There were many large chunks of ice floating in the river, making crossing extremely difficult. After we crossed the river, we marched through a heavy snowstorm to Trenton. The Hessians were dumbfounded. We easily won the fight with not many men injured. I must admit, I look quite regal in Emmanuel Luce's painting being met. First as a general and now as a president, I'm helping this country grow and evolve into a wonderful nation. Good day, American patriots.
Good morning, fellow patriots. I am John Adams, your second president. When I was younger, I wanted to be a farmer, like my father. But he refused to let me follow in his footsteps. Instead, he sent me to a new school to receive a fine education. I attended Harvard, where I was filled with knowledge and soon became a teacher. I married the amazing Abigail Adams. What a dreamy writer. After my career as a teacher, I became a lawyer. I headed to the Continental Congress as a representative from Massachusetts. While in the Continental Congress, many of my fellow members sought me for counsel on special assignments. As supporter of independence, I believe that the founding of an army and Declaration of Freedom was necessary to defend the colonists against British aggression. At the time, King George III refused to accept our peace petitions and declared our colonies in state of rebellion. As a result, Congress created the Continental Army, and I, John Adams, had the vision of nominating George Washington to be the leader. A couple of days after I introduced my ideas to Congress, they were approved, alongside Thomas Jefferson. I helped to join the committee that formed the Declaration of Independence. My pal Thomas Jefferson even went as far as to call me the pillar of its support on the floor of Congress. A few years after, in 1779, I helped draft the Massachusetts Constitution, which would soon after serve as a model for the U.S. Constitution. Quite the cultured traveler, I headed to France and Holland to carry out my passion for politics and landed in a few important diplomatic roles. Towards the war's conclusion, I was honored to help negotiate the Treaty of Paris. In addition, I was lucky to have been able to travel to Barbados and Bermuda. My, how I can only imagine spending a week on those pink sandy beaches with a fruity umbrella drink in my hand. Anyway, good day and God bless America.
Oh, hello there. I am Paul Revere, a devoted, dedicated, adventurous, experienced, rebellious, and a proud son of liberty. The American Revolutionary War was a scary yet adventurous, important, and exciting time in my life. Want to hear more? Yeah! Saddle up. It's going to be a very bumpy ride. As a young boy, I worked many different jobs and eventually became a Patriot soldier. I joined a Sons of Liberty formed by a good friend of mine, Samuel Adams. We threw multiple tea bags into the Boston Harbor because of the taxes King George III put on the colonists. As you can imagine, King George was not happy. Soon, my ride through Lexington began. I was sent as a messenger to warn Samuel Adams and John Hancock, who were in Lexington, that the British were on their way. I needed to tell them that we had to make a run for it. I also needed to tell them that we had to remove all the weapons from Concord and hide them again. I was given a horse named Brown Beauty, and I set out for Lexington on a lovely stallion. By the time I reached John Hancock and Samuel Adams, it was already midnight. About halfway back to Concord, unfortunately, I was caught by British soldiers. Even though I never made it to Concord, Samuel Adams and John Hancock would not have spread the news without my help. The American Revolutionary War was important in our history because we gained our independence. See you in a while, American Patriots.
Say further, shall I not stop and leave to your imaginations to portray the tragic deeds of war? Is it not enough that I have to leave it even to unexperienced the fancies, the hardships, even of the best life of a soldier? Oh, hello there. My name is Robert Shurtliff. I've had probably the most amazing adventurous life that everyone loves to hear about. So here goes nothing. Oh, did I say hair? I mean here. When I was in my teenage years, the rude, cruel King George started taxing almost everything in sight. His unjust ways and my craving for adventure led me on the path to exploration and service for the colonies. I decided to become a proud member of the militia. At the battlefield, we won many victories and lost some too. One day, we found the food that the Tories stole from us and feasted on it. Halfway through the meal, the Tories found us. We had to get back to the fort immediately. Unfortunately, I was shot in the neck and in the leg. I was quickly rushed to the nearest doctor, who gave me a knife and a bandage. Though I was weak and hurt badly, I did not want the doctor to learn my secret. At the time, a bad fever was going through the city, and I got very sick. I had to pay another trip to Dr. Binney, and that is where he discovered my secret while getting triaged. Because of me, women had more independence after the Revolutionary War. Women, ha! Well, you might ask why I say women. Well, there is something I haven't told you. Although you may know me as Robert Shurtliff, the brave soldier, I am actually Deborah Sampson, a woman. Farewell. I'm off to deliver another speech in Germany. Happy Valentine's Day. Long live American independence.
It is I, Nathan Hale, courageous member of the Sons of Liberty, lover of freedom, protector of American rights. So sit back, relax, and enjoy my story. I grew up as the sixth child of 12 in Coventry, Connecticut. After graduating from Yale in only 2 years, I nailed my dream job as a schoolmaster. Around this time, King George III began taxing the colonies unreasonably, so I joined the Continental Army. I started as a soldier but was quickly promoted to captain. I wanted to defeat the British so badly that I started to give soldiers my wages to convince them to stay in the army. Lieutenant Colonel Thomas Knowlton noticed my fierce loyalty and asked me to be a commander for his Rangers. After that, he asked me to be a spy. I said yes right away, but I was not prepared for the things that lay ahead. My first mission as a spy was on September 21st, 1776. I had seen the Redcoats going somewhere, but I was too late to take note. So I went back to the harbor to board my ship. So I started waving to it, thinking I'd see some Patriot pals, but it turned out to be a British ship. The Redcoats brought me on board and brought me to their headquarters. Once we got there, they gave me a full-on body search. Have you ever been through security or forgot to take off your watch or something, and the security has to take you aside and search you? It was like that, except 50 times worse. Next, to add more fuel to the fire, the Redcoats found a note in my shoe revealing that I was a spy. At first, the Redcoats felt bad for me, so they said that they would let me live only if I followed one condition, which was to sign a contract that stated I have complete loyalty to King George, which I would have never done because that's like Luke Skywalker joining the dark side or Batman teaming up with the Joker. So I guess you got the idea that I said no. Nathan Hale unfortunately died on September 22nd, 1776. His last words were, "I only regret that I put one life to lose for my country. Thank you and happy Valentine's."
Dear John, I hope you are safe and happy in Paris. Tell John Quincy I said hi. Love, your wife, Abigail Adams. I always love the way my quill pen dances so gracefully across the paper. Oh, goodness me, where are my manners? I'm Abigail Adams, born on October 11th, 1744 in Weymouth, Massachusetts. I was a lucky woman to be married to such a lovely man, the Vice President of New York City and the second President of our country, John Adams. Being married to such a powerful man got me very into politics. In 1777, I wrote the Remember the Ladies letter to John asking him for fairer laws. Although I wasn't asking for the right to vote, but rather asking to women keep some of the money that they earned and not hand it to their husbands. We, the Daughters of Liberty, stated that if we did not get the money that we deserved, then we would form a rebellion. Perhaps the one thing that inspired me the most was a document by my pal Thomas Jefferson, July of 1776. You know, the Declaration of Independence. Even though John laughed at my letter, I continued to play an important role in the nation. Overall, I think that my letters really shaped the lives for ladies. I felt that declaring freedom from British rule was a valuable right for the colonists. Although I knew we would have to continue fighting for our liberty, it was a monumental step in the right direction. My letters helped pave the way to women's rights, including education for women that would benefit them and their families. I suppose that all of you lovely ladies wouldn't be here today in this dazzling school if it without my help. I will conclude with a quote that I delivered to my own children that I find still speaks today. Justice, humanity, and benevolence are the duties you owe to society today. Good day.
Good morning, fellow patriots. Wait, the British are coming, the British are coming. Don't worry, though. Saddle up and I will tell you my story of the Revolutionary War. I, Sybil Lunnington, am not your average 16-year-old. You know, I'm not getting ready for proms, texting my peeps, and heading to the mall. Instead, I'm riding horseback trying to warn my father's army that the British are attacking Danbury, Connecticut. In 1777, on a rainy night in April, my father, Colonel Lunnington, was telling some of my siblings a story by the fireplace when a messenger came knocking on my door. His uniform was dripping wet from those New England spring rains. The messenger told my family that 2,000 British soldiers were attacking Danbury, Connecticut, and warehouses filled with food and clothing for American soldiers. The messenger also said that the Patriots needed someone to alert the soldiers. The messenger said he would go, but everyone could tell he was too wet and tired to go. Then, without second thought, I said, I will go. Everyone said it's too dangerous, or it's not safe. But everyone agreed because my father had to give his soldiers orders. So I got on my horse Star and we went out to the wet, cold, dark forest towards Danbury. After most of my ride through Danbury, Carmel, and Peekskill, I finally reached Stormville, where people were cheering for me and Star. After that, I went home to be greeted by 400 Patriot soldiers along with my father. I was so proud to be applauded for my hard work. Shortly after, George Washington came to my house to thank me for my courage. During the Revolutionary War, I became a spy and hid my father, who the British were trying to capture. God bless America.
My name's Thomas Jeff. Whoa, that's a lot of people. Better make this one short. You know, you all know how very passionate I am about public speaking. Not. Anyway, where was I? Hi, my name is Thomas Jefferson. Some people may know me as the writer of the Declaration of Independence, but others may know me as the 4th President of the United States of America. Without me, the British may have won the war, and America would not be a free country. Imagine how sad that would be. But lucky for you, I was born. Also, you probably would never have received the lucky $2 bill with my handsome face looking right at you. Gum chewer? Yes, that's me you pay with for those bargain bazookas. Anyway, allow me to humble myself and deliver you my story. When I was a young lad, I had a great passion for books. I often read for 15 hours a day and carried a notebook and pencil everywhere I went. I attended the College of William and Mary, and there I studied law for 5 years with my beloved teacher, George Wythe. About 6 years later, in June of 1776, Continental Congress voted to declare America free from British ghastly rule, and they chose me to write the Declaration of Independence. I was honored and ready to get to work in drafting the very important document. I rented a house just outside Philadelphia and worked on the Declaration for nearly 3 whole weeks. I wrote it and rewrote it to make sure every single word was just right. Talk about editing and revising. I poured my heartfelt ideas about liberty and justice into the document. And guess what? On the warm summer day of July 4th, Congress accepted my draft. They changed a few things, like a section on slavery I wrote because I own slaves myself, but I still think it is wrong and should be outlawed. When the British surrendered in 1783, the American Revolution finally ended. A new nation, the United States, was born. I had many hopes and dreams for my country. I hoped that it would be a true democracy with government ruled by the people. I was very proud of my role in writing the Declaration of Independence. So this year, when you watch fireworks on 4th of July, aka Me Day, you can think of me, Thomas Jefferson, and all my hard work in making America a free country. Good day, folks.
death. Sorry, wrong speech. You'll hear about that later. Greetings, Patriots. I'm Patrick Henry, and I'm a patriot. I grew up on a plantation in Virginia with 2 brothers and 7 sisters. I spent my life fighting for the most precious thing in the world, freedom. Are you ready to hear my story?
Yeah.
Let freedom ring. In 1763, I got my first case as a lawyer, known as the Parsons Cause. 2 years later, I was proudly elected to the Virginia House of Burgesses. In the House of Burgesses, I helped to discuss local matters. I knew that the colonists were furious about the Stamp Act. Can you believe the British even tried to tax us on playing cards? That meant no more solitaires, no more go fish, and no more poker games with the boys. Courageously, I entered the House of Burgesses with a list of reasons stating that only the colonists had the right to tax themselves. For the next few years, I kept practicing law, and at the same time, the spirit of protest continued to grow, stronger. Music to my ears. On a fall day in 1774, the Continental Congress met to discuss about going to war with Great Britain. This, my friends, was just the beginning. After the meeting, the Congress made the decision not to go to war with Great Britain just yet. But I felt that it was so important to regain our freedom, so I arose in front of a crowd of people and proclaimed, "There was no longer any room for hope. If we wish to be free, we must fight. But as for me, give me liberty or give me death." It was at that moment when the men decided to prepare for war. Long live American independence!
Oh, look at all you friendly faces out there looking at me. Ha! As you can see, I like attention. Oh wait, did I say like? I mean love. Now just that spotlight a little to the left. There we go. Now I'm ready to tell you my story about how I, John Hancock, played a large, no pun intended, role in the Revolutionary War. As a young boy, my beloved father passed away, and I moved in with my aunt and uncle in a beautiful Beacon Hill section of Boston. At age 13, I entered Harvard College, and after graduating, went to work as an apprentice for my uncle. Shortly after I started working, bless his soul, my uncle passed on. Not only to inherit his business, but unbeknownst to me, also the title of one of the richest men in America. Now, at the time, the Stamp Act and other taxes were being placed on countless goods being sold. My fellow colonists and I were fed up and had to make a change. My buddy Samuel Adams, whoop whoop, pulled me to the side and tried to recruit me as a son of liberty. He succeeded, and off I went partaking in sneaky events, such as the Boston Tea Party and other protests that infuriated King George III and the Parliament. Gaining popularity amongst the Patriots eventually led me to becoming elected as a governor of Massachusetts. Meanwhile, back in England, King George was adding me to his most dangerous Americans list. How scandalous. I was proud that my fellow Patriots had just such faith in me. On July 4th, 1776, Congress approved perhaps what is one of the most valued documents, the Declaration of Independence. I, John Hancock, was thrilled to sign, and being the bold man I am, was the first person to sign, and with the largest signature, my name stood front and center for freedom. Let freedom continue regained today, and God bless America. Oh, and one last thing, big party at my house tonight, and you're all invited.
Hello. Have mercy, there are a lot of you folks out there. My name is Mercy Otis Warren, and I am known for participating in the Continental Congress and writing politically fueled stories about the colonies. When I was a young lady, I had big dreams of becoming a writer. I found it just empowering sharing my thoughts on paper. As a woman in the Revolution, I only had limited opportunities to have my voice heard. So I decided to use my God-given ability to write. As a daughter of a lawyer, I was surrounded by politics and soon married a politician as well. Oh, my beloved James Warren, a Harvard graduate, handsome, talented, and appreciated me for my brains and beauty. Living in Plymouth opened doors for me to hear what was going on during the time of the war. Before I knew it, my house was a place where patriots gathered to plan ways to unite against the British oppression. My house was known as One Liberty Square, where I delighted in listening to discussions between the men. Their chats were inspiring and helped me create political plays, which I cast in my patriot friends as heroes and my loyalist friends as enemies. My works included one of my most famous writings, the Boston Tea Party entitled The Squabble of the Scenics, appeared in the Boston paper, and I became quite the popular ghostwriter. The waves had rolled upon me, the billows have repeatedly broken over me, yet I am not drunk down, and I will never be Mercy Otis Warren without signing out. God bless America.
William, it kills me to hear that you have sided against America. I know that your mind is made up and it can't be persuaded. Sorry. My son is the New Jersey governor and he's a loyalist, so... Hello, I am Benjamin Franklin and I was born on January 17th, 1706 in Boston to a family of 19. Can you imagine? When I was 12 years old, I became an apprentice to my brother James. I detested my work there working for a newspaper, so I decided to run away. Fast forward to 1732 when I married Deborah Threes in a common law wedding. Shortly after, I published Poor Richard's Almanac. You may ask where the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. It is proudly my almanac. Bursting with curiosity and with a strong interest in our beautiful world, I studied the scientific relationships within the atmosphere and soon discovered that lightning was electricity. Can you believe some folks actually thought I was a wizard? I mean, if J.K. Rowling was around at that time, she probably would have written a book about me called Benjamin Franklin and the Sorcerer's Lightning Rod, or the Lantern Jar of Fire. Once I became well known for electricity, I continued stirring up inventions that helped society. That delicious pot roast that Grandma made last weekend, or chicken noodle soup to help soothe the soul, my Franklin stove can heat those comfort foods. Now to my involvement in the Revolutionary War. After the Battle of Lexington and Concord, Congress sent me to France to negotiate a secure and formal treaty with French. Upon my arrival in France, I was welcomed with open arms and quickly became known as a prominent individual in high society. Although I was well liked for my intellect and skill, the French unfortunately remained neutral for a while and refused to sign a formal alliance until they were assured of American victory over the British. It wasn't until shortly after the Battle of Saratoga the French saw a change and joined our side. They supplied us with uniforms, guns, troops, and ammunition. On February 6, 1778, we automatically signed the Treaty of Amity and Commerce and the Treaty of Alliance. The French aid in these agreements was pivotal in the eventual American victory over British in the War for Independence. I must say, I was quite a valuable man. Perhaps my contributions are what led moneymakers to place my face on the $100 bill. But I say my accomplishments are priceless. God bless America.
Oh, sorry, I'm late. I was just on the battlefield helping those parched soldiers. Oh boy, is it hot out there. Good morning, my fellow patriots. My name is Mary Ludwig Hayes, but you may know me as Molly Pitcher. My story began in the spring of 1778 when my beloved husband, William Hayes, marched toward the colony of New Jersey under Commander George Washington. Most women at the time stayed back in Valley Forge and tended to the house and children. But I, being a courageous woman, decided to get involved and help the soldiers. June of 1778 was hotter than the 86th Street subway station in August, and you know what I mean. British soldiers were beating together at the Monmouth Courthouse near the Jersey Shore, ready to fight the Patriots. My husband, William Hayes, was firing the cannon, and I decided to remain close by. I realized the only thing I had to help me on the battlefield was my dented pitcher. So back and forth I ran to the spring not too far away to collect water for those thirsting soldiers. I can hear the echoes now.
Molly! Pitcher!
Before I knew it, I was helping hydrate numerous soldiers protecting our land. And at the same time, my husband collapsed on the battlefield and someone needed to take his place and fire the cannon. Can you guess what happened next?
What happened, Molly?
I stepped up to the cannon and fired away. Feelings of fear, confidence, and bravery filled me inside. I even heard men say that they'd never seen anyone do anything like this before. They'd obviously never seen a Marymount girl before. If it wasn't for my assistance on the battlefield, perhaps the British soldiers would have succeeded. Good day, fellow patriots.
Good day, fellow patriots. You may know me as the dapper man, the bottle of beer. But my friends, I'm here to tell you a much more important tale of how I, Samuel Adams, lived through the Revolutionary War. I was born on September 27, 1722, in Boston, Massachusetts, home one of the fanciest tea parties in town. At the age of 14, I entered Harvard College. I developed quite a passion for politics and a strong feeling for the rights of people to govern themselves. Speaking of that party I mentioned before, I suppose the British did not fancy their cup of tea. Perhaps it was not Earl Grey enough for them, or maybe it was too matcha caffeine for their liking. Anyway, on to my story. On April 18th, 1775, General Thomas Gage, the commander of British troops in America, sent hundreds of redcoats to Concord to destroy weapons that were hidden by the Patriots. At the same time, those loyalists marched all the way to Lexington to arrest my comrade John Hancock and me. Talk about a hike. Gage's plan was to take us to England, where we would be questioned for treason. I had no clue what was happening, so on the morning of April 19th, my good friend Paul Revere came to me and John to inform us of the news. Thanks to Revere's quick thinking, we escaped in the woods and never got arrested. Gage hoped that the Sons of Liberty and Patriots would eventually give up their revolt. He even sent out a reward to the folks if they could capture me. Imagine this face on a milk carton instead of a bottle of beer. Well, thankfully I never got caught by the British. Because of me, us Patriots were one step closer to defeating King George III. I will never forget that one morning I sat on a hill and the first shot of the Revolutionary War was fired. I thought, what a glorious day for America it is. Good day and cheers.
Thank you for your patience. Wink, wink. Do you know how the colonists won the war? I'm here to tell you my story on how I helped conquer King George's overpowering rule. I am Patience Lovejoy, a spy for the American colonists. I was born not far from here in Oyster Bay, New York in 1725. As a spy for the American colonists, I made wax sculptures and hid secret letters inside the heads. In 1769, sadly, my husband died and left me with no money. So, I moved my family to Philadelphia and started a small wax modeling business with my sister Rachel. We made permanent exhibits and waxworks in Philadelphia and New York City. Then a horrible disaster struck. A big fire occurred in our New York studio and almost melted all the life-size wax figures to be sold. After the fire, Ben Franklin's sister Jane urged me to move the studio to London, England. I lived in a neighborhood near the King's Palace. Soon, my wax business became popular, and I attracted English royalty as my customers. My wax studio flourished with well-known customers. I became close friends with William Pitt, 1st Earl of Chapman. Throughout the summer of 1773, I was invited to Buckingham Palace. There, I created wax busts of King and Queen.
The year of 1773 was also the year of the Boston Tea Party. Most of the Parliament members and new military officers talked to me while they posed. I led them into telling me revealing secrets about the war. I wrote messages and slipped them inside the heads so nobody would discover them. Then I shipped them to Rachel to sell in America. The Continental Congress and other patriots were then able to decode the hidden messages or understand Britain's ideas to either cut off trade or implement some other sneaky act. As I light one of my wax candles and reflect on my experiences, I must say, I am so proud of myself for protecting and revealing valuable information to my fellow patriots.
Stitch to the right, weave to the left. I think that would make the most splendid pattern. Oh, hello. My name is Elizabeth Griscom Ross Ashburn Claypool. As proud Americans, you're probably familiar with that gorgeous Star-Spangled Banner, and you might just be wondering how that flag was created. Well, I know all about that flag because guess who made it? Me! That's right, Betsy Ross. Now, I'm going to tell you my story. It started off like any other day in my cozy upholstery shop when I heard a knock on the door. As I opened it, to my surprise, it was General George Washington and 2 other men. I invited them into my parlor, and they gave me a piece of paper with the flag on it. They told me the designs of the flag and all of the details that I needed to know. I noticed that the stars on the flag were 6-pointed, but I said that they should be 5-pointed. It'd be much easier to make. I also noticed that the flag was shaped like a square, but I said it should be shaped like a rectangle. That way it would flow better in the wind. At first, they were a little confused, but then they agreed. I wasn't sure if I should make the flag because I thought it was going to be time-consuming, but I gave it my all and got to work. Once I finished my flag, we got run up to the tops of ships. Then my flag and I received the unanimous approval of the committee, and onlookers agreed that they liked my flag. Soon, all the patriots in war wanted a flag, but I felt so proud and happy for what I've accomplished. The flag I created became a symbol of the 13 colonies becoming an independent nation. As a result, the colonies successfully freed themselves from British rule. I believe that my flag played an important role in our new nation's victory over Britain. God bless America. I pledge allegiance to my flag of the United States of America.
He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, and burnt down our towns. Lies, I tell you, lies! Greetings, fellow loyalists, or patriots. I am King George III of the greatest country on earth, Great Britain. Let me tell you a bit about myself. I was born on June 4th, 1738. I grew up in Great Britain, and when I was 22, I became king. Lord Bute was my top advisor and was like a father to me. He helped guide me through the implementation of unfair taxes. By unfair, I mean totally fair. But I know you patriots think those taxes were unfair, but I really needed the money. To be honest with you, I was misunderstood. After the French and Indian War, I needed to protect my colonies from Native American attacks, but I had no money because of the cost of the previous war. So I decided to tax those colonists. No job done, I thought. Well, they took it the wrong way and knocked down a statue of me, of precious, wonderful, beautiful me. Then I got word that there were groups forming to revolt against me and my taxes. This was news to me. What had I done? I was getting so worried that I repealed all taxes except for the tea. There must be one tax to keep the colonies from falling apart, right? Well, that wasn't enough for those colonists, and they got so mad they threw a tea party. I usually love tea parties with the frills, crumpets, fine dining, and china, but this one was just insulting. I was getting a little bit worried after the tea party. So, okay, I was getting super worried. I did not want another war. Bloodshed is a sin in the eyes of God. When I finally realized a war was inevitable, I sent thousands and thousands of troops to the colonies. Sadly, the colonist army was ready for a war, and they won the very first battle. And that's where I met my enemy, George Washington. George versus George. That's how it's going to be. Even though my army fought with pride, strength, and resilience, we lost the war. After the war and the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson called me a bully, tyrant, and unfit to be the ruler of the free people, which I thought was the most rude, unfair, uncivilized, bad-mannered thing anyone had ever said to me. But really, I was like a father to them. I gave them land to live on, food to eat, seas to sail, and life to live. And here's what I get in return. People calling me a bully and a tyrant. Sorry, I get overwhelmed sometimes. I'm heartbroken that I lost the war. It wasn't even my fault. Now that I think about it, it may actually be my fault. Oh well, what's done is done. They got their independence, and I got a title that says I was the King Who Lost America. Thank you, and have a nice day.
Principles down on paper and called in the Constitution. And it's been helping